My friends, we have gone over how to get bass like your favorite metal band, how to get guitars like your favorite metal band, and how to get synths and recreate them like your favorite metal bands. That video did really well, by the way. And today we're going to focus on what I feel like most people have the issues with. How to mix your vocals like your favorite metal band. And I mean any metal band, right? Doesn't matter if it's Bad Omens, I Prevail, Bring Me the Horizon, Sleep Token. Regardless, there are a few things that are going to be important to get that kind of sound. Well, by the end of this video, you guys will understand how to take any properly recorded vocal from the beginning all the way to the end of the process and how to make sure that it stands out. So stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss any of this, and we're going to be doing this with 3 different examples so that it doesn't really matter what type of vocal, you understand how to process each one of them. The first thing that we're going to want to do is to identify the type of vocal that we have. Is it a relatively soft vocal? Is it one that adds grit or raspiness on a clean vocal? Or is it a scream? Like, we can obviously tell when somebody's screaming or yelling, right? But when you have a softer vocal or somebody with like more of a sweet voice versus somebody that uses grit and raspiness, you need to identify this because it determines the amount of saturation that you're gonna wanna use. And that's something we were gonna worry about a little bit later on. Just keep it in your mind as we start through this. So we're gonna play each one of these now. A soft vocal, a raspy vocal, and a scream.
Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it.
Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Maybe, just maybe, take time to seek it. Did you not hear me loud and clear?
Now that we understand what that is, we're going to talk about how we're going to process each one of those things. I like to start with EQ because when you EQ before compress, you can kind of do larger bumps of EQ and be additive, and it doesn't sound like it's adding so much volume because it's being compressed back down, and it gives like a nice like smooth sheen to it. One thing about EQing vocals is we know that we're going to roll off some low end. But when we are adding that top end sheen, it's really nice to add a bell around 8 to 10K. And there's another bell that I need you guys to hit, by the way. It's that notification bell, that like button, and of course that subscribe button. If you guys are loving the content that you see, please help out by doing that because we are trying to make it to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Thank you for everyone that stayed with us from the beginning. So let's test that out on a few of these vocals. We're just gonna roll off, like I said, maybe somewhere between 80 and 100 hertz. Then we're going to dip a little bit of the mids and we're gonna add some top end.
Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute. Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute.
Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Maybe, just maybe, take time to seek it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above.
Now that we understand that, we're going to compress the vocal. What type of compression is really important here? If it is a softer vocal and we want to kind of add a bit of grit to that vocal because we are talking about metal now, we're gonna want to deal with something like a 76 or a pretty aggressive compression, something that adds saturation. Now, if you have somebody that already has a raspy voice or a gritty voice, you can get away with using an opto compressor in this case. And when we're dealing with screams, we typically can use a combination of both of those things to smooth it out, to add the character that's being pushed out from the FET compressor and then to smooth that out with the opto compressor. So this is just a way that I like to think about it. Let's test and see how that works. First example, let's listen to the clean vocal with a FET-like distortion on it.
Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute. Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh.
Now let's listen to the raspy vocal with some opto compression on it.
Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this cold life. Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this cold life.
And finally, let's listen to a combination of both of them on a screen.
Maybe, just maybe, take time to seek it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above. Maybe, just maybe, take time to seek it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above.
Okay, now that we've done the EQ and compression, you can add a bit of saturation at this point. We're gonna see how that sounds on the really soft, clean vocal. We don't wanna overdo it, but we wanna give it a little bit of hair since it doesn't have any. And then we'll see if it's necessary on the raspy and gritty vocal. On screams, sometimes it's not necessary to add saturation, but if you really wanna tap into that aggressive feeling, that's the easiest way to do it. So we're gonna test out saturation with one of the JST Heat mini plugins and see how that goes.
Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute. Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute.
Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this cold life. Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this cold life.
Now that we've done EQ, compression, and saturation, we're gonna go into adding doubles. So the first thing that I want you to think about is, how are we going to add a double? Is the person tracking it, or is it something that we're gonna add later down the line? Verses typically have a single double going right down the center, and choruses benefit a lot from having a stereo spread. So we're gonna do this with some clean vocals. We're going to add a double to the center, and then we're gonna add a left and right double for the chorus. That way, everything kind of spreads out and makes the chorus feel larger than life.
Drowning my cup, chasing the herd. Down on my luck, I'm on the verge. Blood on your cuffs, I got the key, but you'd rather lie to me. Yeah. Down on my luck, I'm on the verge. Down on my luck, I'm on the verge. Blood on your cuffs. Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute.
When you're dealing with screams, I don't typically tend to triple track screams unless I'm doing like a main scream and then I have a high and a low and I want to like pan it out and get some kind of effect. Typically we'll just double that. So let's listen to how that sounds being doubled. Now, if you don't have a double of it, you can use something like Howard Benson Vocals Multiplier, and that will let you create the double that you're looking for.
Maybe, just maybe, take time to seek it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Maybe, just maybe, take time to seek it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above.
Now, hopefully at this point you guys see how far along we've come in the vocal. And we're gonna take this a step forward and we're going to add some reverb. We don't typically want to add a lot of reverb under 500 hertz because it'll kind of make things messy, and we don't want to add a lot of it over somewhere between 2500 and 5K because that just starts getting annoying, especially with sibilants and stuff. And we could have used a de-esser a little earlier in our chain after the compressor, but I tend to think that it doesn't matter a lot unless you start noticing problems. If you do notice problems, you can do that then, but right now we're gonna add some reverb to it. Adding that reverb, we can use something like Howard Benson vocals or JST Skybox. It's really going to spread it out and make it feel more alive in the track and add some depth.
Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute. Oh, why you do that?
Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Maybe, just maybe, take time to sink it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above.
It doesn't matter if you're doing soft, raspy, or you're screaming, you're gonna wanna add some reverb most of the time unless you want a really just compressed and in-your-face vocal. All right, so now we have added EQ. We have added compression, saturation, we've doubled it up, we've added our reverb. So all we wanna do now is add a limiter to the end of the process so that we can make sure that it stays consistent all the way across the board. I tend to do this on vocals regardless of what type of vocal it is. Certain things are only for one type of vocal and certain things are for everything. And this is something I'm gonna do on everything. So if you want to have those pro sounding vocals, this is going to be the easiest way to do that in metal. Limit your vocals at the end of your chain.
Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute.
Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Maybe, just maybe, take time to sink it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above.
So let's go over this one more time. We went over EQing it. We showed how to compress each type of vocal, what type of saturation that we want to use on the vocals, doubling the vocals, adding reverb, limiting, and we can test and see if we want to use a de-esser. Using a de-esser is really standard, but if you have a good pop filter and someone's really careful with their sibilants, you might not need it. After limiting though, and sometimes harsh compression and saturation will make that pop up. So we'll add a de-esser to show a before and after of each one of those so you can see what that sounds like.
Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at. I'm singing oh, before I spill it. I'll let your brain run wild for a minute. Oh, why you do that? There's a million other things that you're good at.
Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Oh, something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Oh, give me something to take the edge off. Something to kick the night off. Something to keep my mind off this so-called life. Maybe, just maybe, takes time to sink it. Did you not hear me loud and clear? Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above. Maybe, just maybe, takes time to sink it. Did you not hear me loud and clear?
And now we'll play those all in a clip of the song so you can hear how we took it from the beginning until the end. So there you guys have it. Hopefully you learned something from this. It's always good to go over the basics of things and to kind of go back to square one. I do feel like some of these things are things we typically do in metal that we don't do in other vocals. I think the way that we saturate vocals in metal is very specific. And I also think the way that we compress vocals in metal is something that we wouldn't typically do. I don't think somebody's gonna do a 20-to-1 on a 1176 or an all buttons in on a soft vocal to really get it to that point. They're gonna probably use something like an Opto CL1B or, you know, something like an LA2A type. That wouldn't really be the way that they'd go about it, but we try different things here because we're all about the aggression and kind of that fierceness that comes from having heavy compression, having distortion, and all the other things are being distorted in metal too. We're saturating our drums, we're saturating our bass or distorting our bass, the guitars are distorted. How are we going to fight through all that stuff without adding a little bit of saturation and distortion too? So hopefully you guys learned quite a bit from this video, and I hope that it's something that will help you in the process of you going forward. Did I answer all your questions about this topic in this video? Is there any specific vocalist you'd like to see me apply these effects on? Leave it in the comments below and I will chat with you fine people like I always do. If you're an engineer on the come up, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, you only have to do it one time, and tap that bell for notification so when a video drops, you know the location. Until next time, my friends, I'll catch you later.